A report card is a teacher's written assessment of a student's work, progress, and conduct sent home to a parent or guardian. But today, I'm going to be sending it straight to you guys. What deck are we going to be doing today? Turbo Lost Zone Box. Pokemon Report Card, Battle Styles, the Scarlet Violet base set. Turbo Lost Zone Box. Category 1, Power. Turbo Lost Zone Box is attackers to do weakness / pick apart boards in most matchups. Has the potential to do 110 damage or 250 damage turn 1. Sableye can take multi-prize turns, and Mirage Gate is the best energy acceleration item in the standard format. Turbo Lost Zone Box is attackers to deal with pretty much any deck in the entire metagame, since you have electric attackers, water attackers, dark attackers, and Dragonite to just knock out anything that's standing in front of you. The potential to do damage turn 1 with the inclusion of the EX Pokemon that want to evolve is huge, because Cramorant can usually take 1 to 2 prizes before your opponent can even do anything. Sableye can use multi-prize turns to your advantage, like Isaiah Bradner did on the EUIC stream, taking 6 prizes in 1 turn in the mirror match. And Mirage Gate, being able to accelerate to any Pokemon, is a great addition to this deck because it means you don't have to commit your 2 prizes until you want to attack with them, making the prize trade incredibly hard for your opponent. For power, I'm going to be giving Lost Zone Box a grade of A. Category 2, Consistency. Turbo Lost Zone Box can see large portions of the deck in a single turn, making multiple card combos easier to pull off. Turbo Lost Zone Box relies on the chaining of Chorus's experiments for the 7 and 10 checkmarks in the Lost Zone. Comfy is a usable card under Path to the Peak, but Radiant Greninja is not. Judge is a large hindrance to the stockpiling strategy of the deck, and this deck has a high concentration of do-nothing cards. Lost Zone Box can accumulate a lot of cards throughout the game and use it to pull off multiple card combos like Tyler Matthews did in his 15th place list, where he played Cross Switcher and Canceling Clone in his deck to be able to get rid of pests such as Manaphy to be able to get extra use out of that Radiant Greninja. Turbo Lost Zone Box also relies on the chaining of Chorus's experiment, so if this is a card you don't see in the first couple turns of the game, this deck will suffer in its consistency and its power. Also, Comfy is a usable card under Path to the Peak since it's a non-rulebox card, but Greninja is not, and Greninja being the main draw engine of the deck aside from Chorus's experiment gives this deck kind of a weak ability to gain a lot of cards under Judge or Roxanne. This deck has a high concentration of do-nothing cards, meaning that cards like Mirage Gate and Battle Pass and your plethora of switching cards can do little to nothing in most points of the game. For consistency, I'm going to give Lost Zone Box the grade of C. Category 3, Synergy. Comfy and Chorus are the perfect tools to fill the Lost Zone with cards. Mirage Gate powers up incredibly strong attackers the moment they are benched. Sableye can clean up most attackers after chip damage from Raikou or Dragonite V. Comfy and Chorus are the perfect additions to this strategy and are of the strongest Lost Zone cards ever printed in the history of the game. Decks like Lost March would love to have these cards in their build when they were in Standard. Mirage Gate is able to power up any attacker seemingly out of nowhere, so it's always a guessing game to your opponent on which attacker you're going to use next. Therefore, it's very hard to telegraph this deck's strategy at the current moment. Sableye is also one of the biggest gatekeepers of the Standard format, as it can tear apart decks single-handedly. Being able to place 12 damage counters on the board is one of the strongest attacks we've seen in the Standard format in a long time. The closest thing we had was the Blacephalon from, I believe, Lost Thunder that was able to put 13 damage counters on the board, but it was only on 1 turn. It met specific requirements, and Sableye does not need that specific requirements, and you're able to chain the turn after turn. It's incredibly useful. For synergy, I'm going to be giving Lost Zone Box an A. Category 4, Performance. How well has Turbo Lost Zone Box performed in the current metagame? There have been 2 large IRL events since the release of Scarlet Violet base set. One being EUIC 2023, and one being the London Cup held on Sunday of EUIC 2023. The best performing Turbo Lost Zone Box player was Tyler Matthews at EUIC with a 15th place playing this incredibly unique Lost Zone Turbo list, where he played Cross Switcher and Canceling Cologne, which were not normal inclusions within his deck, But with no boss's order, Cross Switcher was a necessary inclusion to be able to gust up threats on the opposing bench, and Canceling Clone was used to be able to get rid of Manaphy's ability to get extra use out of that Radiant Greninja. I'm sure there's other uses for that card as well, maybe using it to get rid of Espeon VMAX's ability, but this is the best performing Turbo Lost Zone list we have at the current moment, and congratulations Tyler for this fantastic finish. The next best performer was second place at the EUIC 2023 Cup, Brent Tonneson, playing Turbo Lost Zone Box. As you can see, this does not play Cross Switcher or Canceling Clone, and does play a couple more consistency cards to be able to get to that number 7 and number 10 faster within the Lost Zone. This is more of a typical Lost Zone box list, and as you can see, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This deck is incredibly strong. For performance, I'm going to be giving Lost Zone Box the grade of A. Report card, Battle Styles to Scarlet and Violet base set, Turbo Lost Zone Box. Grade in Power, A. Grade in Consistency, C. Grade in Synergy, A. Grade in Performance, A. Overall grade, A. Top tier. Lost Zone Box is one of the best choices that you could pick going into any event, whether it be a cup, a challenge, or a regional. I believe this archetype will be more refined in the future and will eventually become the best deck.